Hello everybody. Today we are going to be talking about my top 3 events that are so easy to run. Now, if you're at a parish that does not have a Catholic young adult group, maybe this is your invitation to start one. Honestly, you guys, it drives me nuts how much people complain on things like Reddit and in other forums how the Catholic Church doesn't have enough community. We have a shortage of priests, right? This is just a fact. So we can't depend on the pastors, the parish council to do it. We are all the church, all of us. So let me call on you laity, let me call on you young adults, start a young adult group, or search around in your communities to see if there's already a young adult group and maybe you can get involved and help them out. I'm gonna give you guys my top 3 events and then I'm gonna do a rapid fire of a bunch of other types of events you can do. Event number 1. This is a really good event. If you are just starting this group, you need a new event to do, ask a priest. I've also heard this called stump a priest. I've heard this be Q&A with Father so-and-so. Ask a priest is really awesome because this gives a chance for Catholic young adults who maybe are not as well read up on the church and the other catechism, a chance to ask a priest in person about these kinds of controversial issues. So I highly recommend, if you are running this type of event, to create a survey monkey or some kind of Google Doc where people can submit their questions ahead of time and anonymously. Of course, you can ask questions in person as well, but for the real controversial issues, it's very important that this is anonymous because people can get upset. You also need to make sure the priest that you choose and the priest that can offer his time to do these questions with you is a confident priest, because you don't want a priest that's gonna just squirm away from the controversial things and not answer the question entirely. You don't want that. You want a confident priest who's going to answer these questions. And this came really in handy when I was part of an event and somebody asked, what is the church's stance on aliens? Okay, that is super random. I've never really considered what is the church's stance on aliens. It's just never something that's popped into my head. But clearly this person was curious about it, and maybe he or she would have been embarrassed to ask that in person. So definitely utilize that anonymous rule. Another thing you want to keep in mind is the moderator. Who is going to be in charge of getting the questions to the priest? Please get them to the priest ahead of time if possible. That's just going to help him out. And also make sure the priest is spending the appropriate amount of time on certain questions, right? The controversial questions, they're going to need more time than, say, a silly question like, oh, what is the day in the life of the priest or something like that. You're gonna want to allot more time to the things that people are going to need longer answers for. This is also really great if you want to combine it with, let's say you have this event in a church basement or you have this event at a bar. If you do have this event at a bar, make sure in a back room and that the priest has a microphone. I can't tell you how many events I've been to at bars where the priest or the speaker or whomever does not have a microphone and I cannot hear them to save my life. So definitely make sure that the priest has a microphone no matter where you are. And also, if this is at like a church basement, combine this with a happy hour or something to go afterwards and ask the priest. I mean, he's already given you so much time, but see if he can stick around and offer confession to anyone who might need it, right? We need to get young people to be going back to confession. What I've seen happen is the people go to the bar afterwards. Anyone who wants to stick around for confession can wait online and go to confession. And then the priest, if he wants to, and the rest of the people come and meet at the bar afterwards. That's great. Faith and fun. That is the key. I forgot to mention this. That is the key to every young adult event. Faith, then fun. Of course, there's going to be some events that are strictly faith. Of course, there's going to be some events that are strictly social, but let's try and keep them as much faith and fun as possible. My second event that I think is so easy to run, and I don't know why everybody isn't doing this in all churches all over the place, is simply just brunch. Just go to brunch after Mass. This is how you make it easy though. You've got to call different brunch type places and find a place that can offer you a prefixed menu. This is huge, you guys. You do not want to be the one stuck with a check for, I've had checks for over $700 because everybody has ordered different things and then you're chasing people down around for their Venmos and everything. If you do lose money, as someone who has lost some money putting on these events, I consider it part of my tithing. That's how you've got to go into these things. If you know you're going to lose money on running one of these events, it is part of your tithing. You are helping bring people to the church. And if you can avoid it, that's even better. And the best way to avoid it is creating a prefixed brunch menu, because then everybody just pays that certain amount. Make sure there is an alcoholic and a non-alcoholic option. If you're not able to do that, make sure it just covers the food, and then everybody can go get their drinks at the bar. Everybody just gets individual drinks at the bar. They pay for each check separately. They come back to the table. It's absolutely great. Make sure you are including gratuity, because usually with those big events, gratuity needs to be also included for that. So make sure you're calculating that in with how much everybody owes. You can even make this really nice and do this as a monthly thing and have it on the first Saturday of every month so that people are learning about First Saturday devotion, where you go to Mass the first Saturday of the month for 5 months in a row. You also go to confession at some point during that week. You say the Rosary on that Saturday, and you meditate on the mysteries of the Rosary. It's a great devotion that started in Fatima. Again, I'll link some information down below. But something like that is a great way to introduce people to Mary if they're not as familiar with her, maybe even introduce them to the Rosary if they're not familiar with it. And it's really easy to do. This is a great women's event, but also men like brunch too. I have been to many brunches where there's several men at, so don't worry, men will come to these events too. The third event I'm gonna bring up, hopefully everybody has heard of this because this is the oldest young adult event in the book. It is Theology on Tap, but you've gotta make it good, you guys. I think this is really important to use your Catholic network for these events. If your parish has an allotted budget for your young adult events, make sure you use some of that money to hire a speaker. Like a really good Catholic speaker is awesome because they are just an expert, a subject matter expert on whatever it is. And it's so nice to hear someone who it's their job to give these Catholic talks. If you do not have a budget, I recommend that you look within your Catholic network, maybe reach out to the priest again, see if he knows someone who is a subject matter expert on a topic that might interest people. If you guys are just starting out this group, try and pick an interesting topic. I once went to an event where it was this Catholic young adult group. It was their first meeting. My friend wanted me to go with her. And it was on a really, I don't even remember what the topic was. It was so boring though. I think it was on cardinal virtues. And it was really boring. And the speaker did not have a microphone, so I couldn't hear him. And it was just madly on, and all he did was talk about his son. It was a terrible event. So make sure the speaker is picking a topic that they are well versed in, that is actually interesting, and that if you can, like, make sure they're actually charismatic and a good speaker, and it's important that you get that right. That's very important. And you can do this in a parish basement if you'd like to. I've been to ones where it's in, again, the parish basement, parish dining room, and then we walk to the bar afterwards. That's really good for the acoustics because, again, in the bar, it's just loud. There are people eating, there are people drinking. If you're not in a secluded area, again, it's really hard to hear. So I highly recommend, if you can get a microphone, do. If you can't, do it in a basement and then go to the bar afterwards. I really hate events where people are sitting. Of course, sit for the talk. But then when it's over, make sure people are getting up and mixing and mingling. This is essential because if you are sitting and you are stuck next to someone you don't like, you're stuck with them for the rest of the event, and it's terrible. So make sure people are getting up, mixing and mingling. And I am not a fan of icebreakers. I know people love to do icebreakers. I don't like them at all. They really annoy me. So what I recommend instead is pick out a few charismatic people that you know are in the group and have them walk around and talk to all of the new people, talk to anyone that's sitting by themselves, make sure everybody feels welcome, make sure everybody's on the email list, make sure everybody's in the Facebook group. I don't like the icebreaker, so I'd rather you pick some people and specifically ask them. I always feel flattered if people ask me, hey, can you walk around the room and make sure you're saying hi to anyone who looks like they're alone? Now I'm going to give you a rapid fire of some young adult events that are awesome to run. Go on a young adult hike. Go to a sports game, either football, baseball, hockey, whatever. People love those things. Apple picking. People love that. I'm reading off my notes right now. I can't remember. Book club. Pick a book. Do a book club. It's awesome. Movie night. There's so many great Catholic movies, but you don't even have to make it a Catholic movie. Just have a movie night and just fellowship. That could be a good social one too. Stations of the Cross. Stations of the Cross you can do during Lent, but you could also do this off year too. It's awesome. Rosary on Zoom. So many people don't know how to pray the Rosary. Teach people how to pray the Rosary. It's a good one on Zoom when it's cold and dark and you need something to do during Lent or what have you. Mass at night and then happy hour. If your church has a mass at night and you're not going to mass and then going to happy hour afterwards, you're missing out. Adoration, holy hour. Explain to them what adoration is. Have them come, have them pray. If the priest can offer confession during it, that's a bonus. Making sandwiches for the homeless. I've done that. That's really good. It is a little expensive because you have to buy everything, but that's really good and you feel like you're making a difference. Catholic trivia. That's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of work, but that's a lot of fun. Medieval times. I've never done this, but I really want to go to medieval times with a young adult group just because I want to go to medieval times and I think that would be fun. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you could give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe and hit the bell, I would really appreciate it. Can you guys also let me know in the comments below what kind of young adult events you like to see run, things like that. Can you also let me know if you like the settings, like the lighting and stuff? I'm trying new settings with my fancy new camera and I'm absolutely loving it. And I think I finally got a good setting today. I feel like my last couple of videos, I've been so pale and gross and stuff, and I still look kind of pale, but that's just because it's the winter and I'm not tan anymore, and I'm not golfing and being outside and having fun. So let me know in the comments below if you like these settings. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite young adult event is, and Yeah. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.